This is the Late Late Lunch Show with Rod Maxwell.
Supported by
Childbird Learning in Nature's Playground.
So today on the show, I'm catching up with the artist who is officially known as Andrew Allen Matthews. To some people, it'll be Andy Matthews, and some people it's even Alan Matthews. But he is andrewalanmatthews.co.uk. He is a Manchester-based artist. I've spoken to him before, and your works of art are not scattered, but they're distributed across the south of Manchester, aren't they, Andy?
Yeah, distributed across Manchester. They've got people who've bought paintings and limited edition prints all over Manchester and beyond, as far away as Jamaica. And also, but mainly I've got all exhibitions around Manchester as well. So yeah, it's quite widespread really.
How does it feel to know that a piece of your art is sitting somewhere in Jamaica? That's pretty cool.
It's brilliant because it was part of my Moss Side Nostalgia collection, and the people who bought it was living in Moss Side. It was a bit of the Moss Side Carnival in Moss Side that I painted, and he said it was a great depiction of Moss Side of that, and it just reminds him of Moss Side every time I look at it. So that's why they bought it. Yeah, I feel really proud. Yeah,
that's pretty special, isn't it? When you've made something that can have that tender emotional connection with somebody.
Yeah, that's what I kind of do. I'm all about doing paintings, giving the feel of a place on people, places and social issues, rather than just depicting a building. I kind of bring it to life with me artwork, me feel of the place, short stories and poems, and just bring the whole building to life as well. I have YouTube videos, yeah.
So remind me, what were you doing before you got the art bug? Because this is something that you've developed. You had it in you because I remember you telling me as a child at school you loved to do art, but it was something that in the latter period you've really gone for.
Yeah, it was when I was in the textile design industry as a design separation artist. I was employed as a commercial separation artist, and I've loved my art all my life, but that kind of started me off in being a serious artist, and then I had a mental health breakdown, and then went to university, went to Manchester Metropolitan University on a BA Honours Textile degree, and I wanted to be a textile designer, but while I was there for 3 years doing all hand-painted artwork, it all turned to computers, so there was not many jobs in textile design, so I kind of moved into call centre work and home furnishing companies and just continuing with my art for the last 25 years or so. My passion for art has really sparked from developing my own style. Because when I was at university, I went to a lecture on L.S. Lowry, and it opened my eyes to that he was a very accomplished artist. It was L.S. Lowry. He painted all photorealistic paintings, but he chose to paint in his style, and that's why I do it with my art. I choose to paint in my style in a Lowry-esque manner, but a modern day way, with all bright colours and vibrant scenes, because Lowry only did muted greys and whites. It reflects in the 18th century at the time, but I'm trying to reflect Manchester and South and beyond in a modern day way. Yeah,
but in some ways, you can. There's a lineage between what Lowry was doing in his day and depicting scenes around Manchester and what you're doing today. Only you're using more modern materials, etc. But it's actually very similar in terms of the style, even.
Yeah, that's right. It's kind of with modern day technology. Like Lowry used to go around with sketchpad because there wasn't any real cameras back then. I go around Manchester taking photos of buildings and different places all around Manchester and Salford and beyond. I go on Google Maps and have a look at maps as well. So I use a whole variety of mediums to get me inspiration, and I'll choose a location and a painting, mainly pubs like the Britain's Protection, and I'll do a scene in my style, but in a Lowry-esque manner, because it's something I've developed over many years, from photorealistic paintings to now a free-flowing expressionistic manner, which is free-flowing and enjoyable to do, yeah.
So we'll take a break and we'll come back. I want to talk to you about these art trails that you've been part of, and also talk about your art being in several pubs, and they're classic pubs as well. And I love this because it feels like art is amongst the people, and it takes away that standoffish element that some people might associate with art. So today my guest is the artist known as AndrewAllenMatthews.co.uk. If you're going to his website, some people call him Andy, some people call him Alan, and we'll just know him as Andy Matthews. We'll be back with him in a couple of minutes' time.
You're listening to the Late Late Lunch Show with
Back to the Garden Childcare, where little explorers grow naturally.
Today on the show, I'm delighted to be catching up again with Alan Matthews, Andy Alan Matthews. Sometimes Alan, I have to say, when people have several different names, with brain injury, it can be an absolute nightmare. But I'm like that myself. Some people call me Rodney, some people call me Rod, so I shouldn't complain too much. Now, we were talking there about the background of you coming into art and your involvement in the textiles industry. Obviously, there's an artistic side to that, and of course the history of Manchester as a manufacturing and an industrial city. There was a lot of art interwoven with that because it was about textiles, it was about fabrics, etc., wasn't it?
Well, that's right. There was a big industry around Manchester area with all the cotton. They used to call it Cottonopolis town back in the day, and then days ago, I was in the last death throes of the textile industry, basically, before it all went overseas to Ghana. It was ABC Batik I used to work for as well, and they did batiks for African textile designs for ceremonial robes, etc. And that all got shut down. They were based in Hyde. It's all gone to Ghana now, like a lot of industry in the textile industry. There's hardly any industry in Manchester anymore. But yeah, it's the history I try to put into my buildings and people and places as well.
And people are starting to discover some of the history through art trails that you've been getting involved with as well. Tell me about what they're about, actually.
Yeah, so it was the first one that I did recently this year was with Sale Festival Art Poetry Trail, and I had one of my poems put up on the Caldo Lounge next to the King's Ransom pub there as well. So it was on display there for about a month. Lots of poets got involved, and they had a poetry trail all around the Sale. It was just a great event, which was organised by Dylan Miller, the writer and poet himself. So thank you very much for that. And it was just a great event. Also, he's organised a Stretford Museum poetry event that happened about 2 weeks ago, and that was a good event as well that he organised. One of my poems were up in there about the Gorse Hill pub in Stretford, about fans going to a game, and Man City fans and United fans. So
I remember you talking about that, yeah.
Yeah, so that's yeah. So each one of my paintings come with short stories and poetry to bring the meat on the bones of the paintings and highlights the good, the bad, and the ugly. A bit like me, really.
And you want to think about there, because we'll talk about Percival the Peak. We'll talk about one of my favourite pubs in Manchester, which is Britain's Protection. A lot of your art are on show in these places, and what I like about that is that it gets it out to people in non-stuffy environments, and I do think there was an element to which in days gone by, people of working class nature did appreciate the arts, did appreciate poetry. Poetry could be for anybody because it's cheap, isn't it? You can, and you can have a go. You don't need any materials. But I think sometimes it's people get confused that actually art is for a certain type of person, whereas actually we know from Lowry and we know from history it was for everyone.
That's right, because it basically poetry and art all really came from the streets, really, mainly poetry. They used to do songs and in pubs all around Manchester and Salford, and just do poetry events back in the 18th century and throughout history. It was only with the elites museums, you kind of like become that hoity-toityness about it. Yeah. And it's like when I was first starting out, I was like going into museums and art galleries and thinking, what am I doing here? I can't display my work in here. Well, I got invited by Salford Museum and Art Gallery in 23-24 to be an inaugural solo resident artist for an exhibition of me Salford and Manchester by Night collection, and that kind of was a big event, really. And and the hoity-toityness kind of fell away because you realise then no, actually it is for the people, and that's why I try and bring, and that's why I try and bring my artwork to people in pubs and all around Manchester. So yeah, I like it accessible for the common man.
And then, I mean, even if you take the works of Banksy, right?
Yeah,
In some ways, that's an illustration of it as well, isn't it?
that's right.
It's. I mean, a lot of people might disagree with the nature of how he does it because they might see it as vandalism, but it's art for the people, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. It's also bringing a voice to your art as well, and that's what I do with my art. It's like art therapy for me, and it's bringing a voice to each one of my paintings. And if you ever get a chance to look at my website, andrewalanmatthews.co.uk, I've got lots of art and videos and paintings and short stories, poetry, sometimes singing. I can't sing for toffee, but I've had a go.
Well, yeah, so happened to all of us. Now, I want to ask you about passion, right?
Yeah.
Because when you're singing or you're doing poetry, you can hear the passion, you can inject the passion in a number of different ways. How do you express a passion or a love or an energy about a scene that you're painting? How do you go about embracing that and communicating that?
Yeah, so basically, first off, go around Manchester or Salford, take a photo of say the Britain's Protection pub, and I'll take a scene of what the way I want to depict it. Go home, print it out. I'll look at it for a while, and then I'll do a sketch, and then I'll do a poetry around it, and the poetry kind of comes naturally to me. The poetry or short stories, and I'll write it in a way that it's like spoken word, as if you're speaking it in the pub itself, to a crowd of people. And my passion comes from that really, by depicting the actual scenes. And when I'm doing my artwork in the shed, painting away about 4 a.m, dancing away like a nutter, with passion on, with music and everything blaring. Probably my neighbours probably don't like me for that, but yeah, it's just, I just bring the passion in. And when you're like in that stress-free zone, you just want to paint fluidly, and the paint I use is acrylics, and it's in a free flowing, expressionistic manner, and it's just so stressless, and I love it. It's
Well,
just passion.
a lot of people would turn and say that the whole idea of painting something, getting the proportions right, getting the colors right, using acrylic, which is oil based, isn't it? So it can go off very quickly.
Yeah,
It's not easy to use. That would put them out in hives. They would be stressed. But
yeah.
you seem to just take into it. What do you think is behind that?
Yeah, well, it's like there's a skill, like drawing, watercolors, gouache, and acrylics, and oil paints. There's a skill in every area, and it takes years and years to develop them skills. Certainly to put 50 years worth of practice in there. And like I say, some people could get stressed out with it, but if you look at me videos, I've got like a website showing how to paint my paintings, and if you look at what I'm doing there, it's such a stress-free, free-flowing way. Sometimes somebody might not be able to do it straight away, but you probably take him a while, like it has done with me. Yeah,
Mhm. I want to come back and talk about pubs because you could actually have your own pub tour,
yeah,
and it would all be class pubs. So for where you show your work, and we'll talk about a couple of them in more depth. So today, my guest is the artist Andrew Allen Matthews. You can go to his website. It is andrewalanmatthews.co.uk, and we'll be back with him in a couple of minutes' time.
You're listening to the Late Late Lunch Show with
Back to the garden childcare, where little explorers grow naturally.
You know, Alan, it's. I love the fact of talking to people who take their passion and move it on. At a later age in your life, because you're not a 20 something, right? But it's always
that's
been
right.
there with you, and I love the fact that you're using it and you're enthusiastic about it. And I think the tie to pubs is very suitable. I guess it's deliberate as well. But some of the pubs that you have got work on display, Perville of the Peak, Britain's Protection Pub. I forget the other one up in Stratford you were talking about. Which one was that?
We've got quite a few paint pubs all around Manchester. There's Sir Ralph Abercrombie. There's a Prince in there, but they're redeveloping the pub now. The King's Arms, Salford. You got the Lower Turk's Head. There's one in there. There's one in Ashley, the Graham pub, King's Ransom. They're all over Manchester everywhere. So
Have you
yeah,
got one in the Greyhound in Ashley?
yeah, I got one in the Greyhound and Ashley pub there. Yeah,
How
and
must
because I used to go there when I was a kid in my cycle there doing scrumping and going into the pub.
really?
Yeah,
That's literally down the road from us here, and
that's right.
I must look out for that. And so, do you loan them to them, or do they buy them, or what? How do you get your stuff in the pubs?
Yeah, so I'll usually do a painting and then I'll do a bit of marketing on it and I'll approach the pub and then say, would you like to purchase a painting or a print? Sometimes I'll gift them, depending in my mood, what I'm doing. But yeah, sometimes I buy them, sometimes I'll gift them. I just gifted Tasty Records a painting for them, but I think they're closing down, but I'm not
They
sure.
have closed
Yeah, I
down,
think the closed, which
unfortunately.
is unfortunate, really. But yeah, I'll try the best I can. I want art to be accessible and affordable for people, and that's what I'm about, you know. And it's but having him in pubs is just iconic. I got one in the Cringlewood Club in Novermore where my dad used to drink in. Story about my dad. One in in Wythenshawe. There's all over the place.
Wow. And then here's the thing. What I like about doing that is you're making connections, aren't you? You're sort of connecting the history and the culture and the art with the story, because Manchester is a city that's changing all the time, but there are these little jewels of ancestry, jewels of history that are at least being maintained, and we need to maintain them, because otherwise it'll just become a city like any other one, you
That's
know?
right, and that's what I'm all about promoting the preservation of buildings in Manchester. I'm all for bringing a modern city to a modern city to Manchester, but you need to stop demolishing our heritage. It's like the Hotspur Press in Manchester and the
Yes.
Rialto in Salford. They was both burned down by mysterious fires.
Yes.
But yeah, a lot of preservationists were trying to keep the building, but for some unknown reason, the fire started, and I don't think they're going to be able to keep that building now. But they are going to replace it with the look of the building, but in a modern way.
Is
And
that what they're
at
going
least,
to do, Andy?
yeah, they're going to build a skyscraper, but on the outside facade, it's going to be the same height and style with all the lettering of the Hotspur Press and Percy Brothers on the outside. There's going to be a courtyard there, shopping areas, and and it opens it all up to people. So I think that's going to be a positive. So something out of a negative comes a positive, and that's what I'm also about as well.
You touch on something, because Manchester has always been a very progressive city, hasn't it? And
That's right.
it's never been afraid to embrace the future, whether it be technology, whether it be about people, inviting people in, whatever it is. But at the same time, you feel like, it's changing all the time now, isn't it? And
Yeah, definitely.
I feel sometimes like I'm being left behind in it, you know?
Yeah, that's it. It's like a Manhattan of Manchester, isn't it? That's what I class it as.
Yeah, it is.
And I think that's progressive. I mean, there's a new influx of people from all around the world, and people come all around the world, especially in the British Protection Pub and the Peveril the Peak. The Peveril the Peak has been voted the best pub in Manchester, in the country actually now. It's been voted the best pub in the country, and Nancy Swanwick, who just passed away, the landlady for 55 years. She was such an iconic landlady, and I'm really pleased that that went to Nancy Swanwick as well. Yeah, yeah,
And it's interesting, because I now visit Belfast more often than I ever did before when I go back, and you can do a lovely tour of pubs, proper pubs from a certain era, and what you get is, you don't just get a pub and a drink, but you see the people that are there, and these
yeah,
people have been there, or people like them have been there through the years, through the generations, and some of them, they're all from different backgrounds, and they all tell their own story. And it could be a Friday afternoon, and there'll be some blokes in there maybe finishing early off a building site, or alongside some people who might be writers or something like that. And you think there's something special about a pub,
That's right.
and you must find that when you're trying to capture it in a painting, is capturing the essence of it.
Yeah, and that's what I kind of do. Capture the essence and character of the people, places, and around every pub that I visit. I try and put my own take on my thoughts on it. But everybody's got their own take on it. It's like I've sold quite a few prints with people commenting, "Oh, I met my missus in this pub. This is why I bought the print." There's loads of different stories that you get from people when going into pubs, and that's what I think is great about Great British society. And I think the pubs are a culmination and a focal point for everybody. And that's why I'm so proud to put my paintings in pubs around Manchester. Yeah.
And then the connection back to the art makes it feel more accessible, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Definitely.
Well, I'll take another break, and I want to come back because you've started an online shop, and I think the other thing about today's period is that art is more financially accessible than some people might think it is. I've just been away somewhere recently, and up in Northumbria actually, or Yorkshire, I can't remember. And you could go in, and there were pieces of art there, and you could buy it over, say, 10 months, 12 months, and it might have been 400 quid, but you could pay 40 quid a month, and there was no interest. And I think it's more accessible. Don't get me wrong, £400 is still a lot of money, but 400 quid for something that's original, that can be a piece that could go up in value as well, can be a good investment, maybe.
Yeah, that's right. Especially with the age of AI, digital now, you can create anything through AI. But what's special about having an original print or an original painting is that somebody's actually worked out in their head and used their hands and put the whole energy into the painting, and that's what's great about original art.
And it tells a different story, doesn't it? It tells the story.
Yeah.
We'll come back. We'll talk about your online shop. So today I'm speaking to the artist who is andrewallenmatthews.co.uk. Well, we know him as Andy, and we'll be back with him in a couple of minutes' time.
You're listening to the Late Late Lunch Show with
Back to the Garden Childcare, where little explorers grow naturally.
Now, Andy, the thing my daughter's an artist, and you know, she studied art in Leeds, and in the last couple of years now she's been starting to understand just what it takes to become a full-time artist, but all the other things you got to do, you know, and I call it a portfolio career. She's got about 4 or 5 different jobs on the go just to keep afloat, but you have to be able to be multi-skilled in a way, because you've got to be able to promote your work, and that sometimes is through social media or online, and therefore you're building other skills other than just the artistic skills. Is that what you find?
Yeah, it's difficult because you can't, like most artists, are one-man bands like me, and you're doing absolutely everything. So it's kind of like you've got to be a passion in doing art. You know, sometimes it's very difficult to try and make it in the art world. It's taken me 50 years to get to this stage, but all it takes is, I suppose, if somebody famous to say, "Oh, I like that," and buy it. So you never know where it'll take you. Yeah.
So you're now selling through your website as well.
Yeah, so I've got a shop page under andrewallenmatthews.co.uk. They've all got cityscapes of Salford, Manchester, London, New York, all different places. Lots of varieties of artwork there. And yeah, it's just, if you ever get a chance to go on the website, check it out. If you want to use cityscapes and pubs and everything, I'm sure it would look great on your wall if you was anybody was interested. Yeah.
And of course, people can commission you to do a piece. Just get in contact with you and talk to you, and you can give them a price basically. And you could do stuff off a photograph, can you? Or
they just send photographs of whatever they wanted, and I'll depict it in my style. I've also done portraits for people and pet portraits. Try not to like doing them too much, because I suppose that's always been the bread and butter of artists over the centuries. But I like to doing my cityscapes, and that's what I'm getting known for now around Manchester and Salford. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, look, it's really good to catch up with you again. And we're going to play some of the tracks that you've selected in and around this as well. Is there anything else coming up? Because I know you've been doing poetry trails and all sorts of different things. What's coming up for the rest of the year for you?
So the rest of the year, I've got an exhibition. Well, I'm the permanent resident artist in the Britain's Protection pub, which is anybody could go in for a pint and enjoy all the paintings and poetry in there. It's a fantastic place to go into. One of the best pubs in the country. Just a short walk down the road is the Peveril the Peak pub, which have got a limited edition print in there as well, which Nancy Swan was kindly allowed me to put in there for them, which they bought. And she just passed away, and the pub has been voted the best pub in the country now. And if it's okay with you, if we can read out a bit of poetry for the Peveril the Peak pub.
Please do.
I have a bit of a tribute to Nancy Swanwick and also a bit of history of the pub as well. Okay, so here goes. Peveril the Peak pub, an iconic pub, used as a brothel for GIs in the Second World War. What's the score today? I hear you say. Built in 1820. Green tiled building stands here today. Mancunians love this place. It's in your face on Chepstow Street. Supposed to be haunted, but don't look daunted. It's a friendly, cosy pub in a Manchester town. Well, people drown in beer, so give it a cheer. Come here today, lock on the view, and you will see it's our pride and glory in a Mancunian town. So yeah, Peveril the Peak pub, an iconic pub, used as a brothel for GIs in the Second World War. What's the score here, you say? Come to the pub today.
There you go,
Peveril. That's that one. What I'd also like to mention is I've just recently been approached by a musician called Tom, who's just releasing his single, his album actually, this Friday, and he's used my artwork for the front and rear cover. So I made up with that. So yeah.
We'll play one of those tracks. What is his name? What's his full name?
His full name is Tom Muir.
Tom Muir. Right. Okay. We'll give him a look up, and we'll maybe make that album of the week here on the show. Well, here it's good to catch up with you, and you're a busy man.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out to the Greyhound and take a look at your picture. So I am, or your painting, I should say, out there as well. Right. And that's my guest today. AndrewAllenMatthews.co.uk is where you can go to see his website. And if you want a piece of art done in his style, get in contact with him. It can be a lovely present for something, can it?
Yeah, it can make fantastic presents and gifts, and they start off from £45 unlimited prints, and then range up upwards from that. So affordable for the common man.
There you go, or the common woman as well. Hey, Andrew. There you go. Common people. That's it.
Yeah,
£45 starting with a piece of art, and it's unique. That's a beautiful thing about it. I'll catch you again maybe before Christmas.
Okay, thanks very much, Rod.
Cheers.
You're listening to the Late Late Lunch Show with
Back to the Garden Childcare, where little explorers grow naturally.